And
What?
now that I've really started to
What?
evaluate, I'm really questioning this marriage.
I freaking told you every time. No, it doesn't matter how positive they look. They all pull away. The experts haven't a clue. They haven't a clue. Every damn week, you hope that someone is going to come through with some redeeming qualities, that maybe there's some redemption going on, that you're like, oh my gosh, they're going to make it. Oh my damn it. No, it doesn't happen. Every week, we inch closer to the show ending, the final decision day of Michael and Chloe, and guess what's going to happen? Nothing. No one's going to end up together. There is no positivity. Doom and gloom. Of course, they were all set up for disaster. Who is shocked by that? First, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications for when new videos come out. I definitely appreciate it. Make sure you follow. We are so close to 500, halfway to that 1,000. Once we get to that 1,000, we're going to be looking at that live show. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be on Thursdays. Start planning. But I definitely appreciate the support as every week we inch in closer and closer to that. Thank you. I do not take it for granted. First, we are going to start out with some of the couples that maybe didn't have as much content going into this. So we got Cameron and Claire. Now, Cameron and Claire, of course, they fell apart. Cameron did what he should have done and exited, and he kind of hasn't been in it. Now, I know he's been in the after show a little bit, but really, he kind of said, I'm not going to film no more. I'm done with this. Claire kind of made a fool out of him, trying to make it seem like he was controlling her, but in reality, that's what pissed him off, because behind the scenes, he's like, that's not happening. She's trying to make it seem like she's a victim like the other girls are, even though everyone had their faults in this. No one is innocent. The females weren't even innocent. Granted, there are some more that were a little more rough in the relationships, if you will, and I've talked about that ad nauseum, but really, there was no one meant for a relationship in this show. But Claire is definitely coming off as more manipulative, and I think Cameron's kind of made that clear. What'd you do?
Texted him happy birthday.
Why would you do
I
that?
got nothing back. And
She's trying to make it seem like she's upset because she texted him and for his birthday and she got nothing back. She hasn't had a response from him since the day when he said, why are you saying that I tried to control you? I didn't. And he walked away and has not had no response. Now she's trying to be like, I'm just trying to be the nice one here. And I'm trying to make it seem like I just want to say happy birthday. He's done with you. You had your chance. And just look at the justification she continues to try when it comes to talking about moving on and things of that nature.
Somebody to understand me, like
Who?
emotionally, and be supportive in that way. Right.
Because he wasn't. That's the whole idea. Is I need someone to be supportive of me and support me emotionally. Like, so you mean letting you run roughshod all over them, just running a train all over you to be in control and no one pushing back. That's what you want.
Whereas I didn't feel.
You didn't feel
like that was there.
So you didn't feel like that was there. Well, it wasn't there in the sense that you wanted it to be, which is, like I said, you wanted to be in control of everything. That is not how a good, healthy relationship works. You're not going to have one person that's just controlling, telling that other person to do this, always make the decisions, everything. You need to have compromise to have a healthy relationship. Compromise is something none of these couples had. And Michael and Chloe also something these couples do not have. And that is one reason why they are going to fail. But we'll get to them. This one was doomed. And unfortunately, even though Cameron seemed overall like an upstanding guy for the most part, not saying he didn't make mistakes, of course he did. You could argue even though his dad was sick, he should have been honest about that, of course. And maybe he couldn't have been as cold at points. But overall, he was the one more trying in this relationship. Claire seemed to be manipulating it from the get-go, and some of that kind of came to light. So, look, God bless her. Find someone that's for you, but you're going to have to find some beta male somewhere that lets you just do whatever you want. And maybe that's what you want, but it's going to get old real quick. Everyone knows that Emily and Brennan just fell apart in spectacular fashion. Of course, Emily was the more, I would say the one that was more in the relationship, but she was not without her faults. And I think that in some points, there is probably some validity to what Brennan was saying about things going on off screen. I do think that is partially true. Now, don't get me wrong, he could have done things a lot different. He was definitely a douche. there's no debating that. He needs to work on some things if he ever wants to be in a relationship again. But she wasn't innocent in that. Of course, she had some issues she probably needs to work out, and she's not trying to really change anything for any future relationships. She's made that clear. That's going to be a problem for her, but she can't seem to grasp that yet.
I feel like traveling is always
How-
what brings me back
what
to
are you
center,
talking
and I need to
about?
get back to center before
Traveling?
I really start a lot of therapy.
Back to center before you start therapy. What she's doing is exactly what she did before, which is, I'm going to go travel the world and just see everything. And then, I'll work on some of the issues later. She's running away, that's clear. Her problem from the get-go was she had never been in a real relationship. She had 2-3 dates and then she would leave. One night stands, whatever, and then she would leave. So she definitely came in with baggage, and yet you're going to jump on it and be married at first sight. Obviously, you're not going to be prepared for that. But if you want to have a marriage that works in the future, you're going to have to make some changes. And doing exactly what you've always done is not going to make any changes happen. Even if you say, I'll get therapy after, that is the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. You can claim that you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to therapy. Don't worry, I'm just going to go on these nice trips and everything. But in reality, the smart decision would be go on, start working on some of that. If you want to go to therapy, whatever, start that right away. Start working through some of these things right away. Instead, you're like, nah, I think I'm going to travel a little bit. You couldn't possibly get into any trouble that way, could you?
Today I booked, there was a room where we could do
What?
twin beds or one king. And
Or-
I was like, what do we do?
Listen,
I did
listen
do
to
a
this.
king, so I will take a hike if you need the room.
Listen to this.
No. Part of it,
I will take a hike if you need the room. So in essence, what she's done in the past is gone on these trips, hooked up with random dudes, and her friend's like, all right, I got a queen. You can go in there, kind of work through some things, have sex, one night stands. So nothing changes with her. This is where I struggle to feel bad for Emily, because she is jumping right back into what she did. Now, she's claiming she's not going to do that on this trip. So I will preface this by saying she does say, no, I think I need to work on me. But the fact that your friend is already putting that out there and you're not working through anything, you're just going back to what you've always done, starting with the travel, I venture to say there will be many guys on this trip, and she's not going to have any qualms about sleeping with them. Do what you want to do. You're a consenting adult. But if you really want to move forward and kind of mature and work towards a better relationship and have a true person in your life that can be a husband, probably starting to make some changes now is probably the best thing.
Claire tells Emily that
Oh,
Brennan
he's telling his side of the story.
said he wants to do a double date.
So Claire told Emily that Brennan, who he's talking about himself in the third person, wanted to do a double date.
But Cameron
In
is the one
reality,
that told Claire.
Cameron
what
is the one that
went
told
down.
Claire.
Claire interpreted as Brennan said those things.
Yes, and this is the problem, and this is where I say I do have a little bit, just a little bit of sympathy. He's not getting his man card back. He was kind of a douche. But where I have a little bit of sympathy is the fact that I do believe that at least some of these things were interpreted a different way. For instance, on the after party, in the brief portion I watched, because, I don't typically watch that as much. Sometimes I watch a little bit. But in the brief portion I watched, he was actually talking to Keisha Knight Pulliam, and he stops, and then she starts talking, and then he says, can I say one more thing? Not in even a really rude way, kind of like they portrayed it, but just like, and she's kind of like, okay. And then at the end, after he says whatever it was he said, then it's like, oh, okay, moving on. So it makes it look like he's just being Brennan, being this douchebag, when in reality, I think some of this is him trying to get his part out there. Now, he made a lot of mistakes. He was a douche. Let me emphasize that before anyone's like, what are you talking about? Of course it was all him. Yes, it was mostly him. At least that's what it portrayed. However, I am saying from the get-go that I do realize that they edit these things a certain way, and someone that may look bad in spots can look really bad in spots. And I think that's probably what happened with Brennan more than anything, instead of highlighting that they both have issues. Now, he goes on to say, I saved her life. That is the douche move. You did not save her life. You put pressure on a wound that was not going to kill her if it just sat there and bled. At least I don't think so. So this is his God complex, him thinking very highly of himself. He lied on the interview. He has a lot of issues. But let's acknowledge that there are probably some things that were portrayed or skewed in a worse way than they could have. Becca and Austin had a roller coaster ride, of course. Austin ended up looking worse for wear. He lied, he was hanging out with the producers, he was clearly had his eye on other women, he was not into her at all sexually, and obviously I called that one. I knew there was something more there. So where they're at now is they're broken up. But at the same time, clearly they are struggling a little bit, and how this went down, there's no reason. Just clean break. Be done, whatever. She wasn't for you. He wasn't for you. Leave. Get out. Instead of holding on to whatever you think is there is only going to cause more drama and pain.
Like, I don't know if things have changed. I don't know
what has changed.
I don't know, like...
What does it matter where her head's at?
What is, like, wanted from me?
What do you think she wants from you at this point?
Or, like, if we're still just excommunicado, like...
Okay, this is the thing that drives me crazy. This is one of the interesting things. Everyone trying to be friends. Look, I'm not saying people could not be friends with exes. I'm sure it happens. Most of the time, it's not healthy because it's hard to separate that relationship from a friendship. So once you break up, you're better off most of the time separating and being done. Of course, I'm sure someone's going to say, or several people might say, I'm friends with an ex, and that's fine. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but a lot of times it's just not healthy. In this case, I don't see how it would be healthy, because on top of the fact that you were in a relationship, it was a whirlwind relationship. You're talking about something that was 2 months long, and you got married, you didn't know each other, you went through all this stuff, and then you had to break up. You didn't even have time to build a friendship. It's only going to be more confusing if you try to stay in communication in some way.
There's a partner that
Who?
will look at his dishonesty and be like, oh, that was just
What are you talking about?
Like, there are people like that. And
Okay, she knows that there's a partner out there that's going to look at his dishonesty and just be like, oh, no. So what you're saying is that there's a female out there that's going to look at him lying about hanging out with another girl at a club and say, oh, that's okay. Please, am I taking crazy pills here? That does not happen. Now, if there's a relationship that is extremely unhealthy, maybe you have a situation where someone's like, oh yeah, it's fine, trying to hold on to it. But that's not a healthy relationship. That's not someone who's just like in love with that person and giving them a break. That's unhealthy. Yes. So her saying that, she's trying to justify at this point and try to be like, oh, everything will be positive. He'll be okay. I'll be okay. She's having some buyer's remorse. She's having a situation of maybe the grass ain't always greener because now that he's gone. For her, pretty sure the grass is greener. Let it go. She also was not without her faults. Don't get me wrong. Early on, she was the one that was a little pushy, like during the honeymoon, about we need to be more intimate. We need to be more intimate. And I said at the time that you absolutely need to give someone their space if they're just not that fast mover. Now, as time went on, I'm like, this is getting a little weird. And I was right. There was something more there. But she definitely was not without her faults. That is true. But at this point, let it go. No trying to be a friendship. No trying to be in a relationship. Let it go. Michael and Chloe are a resident couple that is still a thing, but will be exiting the building stage left, not together. As much as Michael continued to say, I want another chance, it does not seem like at this point he's going to be ready. And you have Chloe, who seems to be potentially trying to find a way out with the whole 5 foster care kids, all teenagers, animal sanctuary, expensive property, everything she's saying. Someone made a good point that she was in the comments saying that she was not politically correct and now she might be trying to find an exit while trying to make it look like unlike that she's trying to find an exit, which is a good point because, maybe she wasn't super politically correct, but at the same time, if you're not politically correct, you came on a TV show, just say the truth. You ain't into him. It's all good. Don't be a coward and not say how you really feel. Like, I cannot stand the political correctness bullcrap, but at the same time, that very well may be true because of him being a little more feminine, even though I will say about Michael, a lot of the traits of being a man he hits, but he's also extremely feminine. And you know what? They put that in the forefront in a lot of shows nowadays, but I will give him credit where it's due in the fact that he has been the most masculine in the sense of protecting, caring for, loving, or at least coming off as loving than the other guys. But clearly, he's not in the commitment for the long run, which also is not a masculine trait. And man card revoked. But, I mean, his already was taken away. So there are many issues there as it continues to roll on.
It could be a no.
He's
I'm gonna
talking
have
about
to-
what he'll decide on decision day.
I'm just gonna have
What?
to like really defer to how I feel that day.
Okay, you see that caveat there? He's going to have to defer to how he feels. Pause. In that or on that day. What the hell do you mean? You're going to go into decision day when you haven't even made up your mind yet? That drives me crazy whenever we have these couples and they're like, I wasn't sure walking in what I was going to do. I'm like, well, then that's your answer right there. If you're not sure walking in, the answer's no. If you say yes, then you're doing both of y'all a disservice. But instead, he's making it seem like that is a normal thing and that is okay. Dude, not okay.
I actually think you'd be doing a huge disservice to your mom and your relationship with her by bringing her in at this point again.
What the hell are you talking about? So what she's saying is that, so she got mad because the PSX doctor, whoever the hell she is, obviously issues with her, none of the experts are experts, but whatever, came in and said, I don't think y'all are being really authentic. She took issue with that. And now she's coming off, one of the issues was, like, oh, I'm okay with him not telling his mom or not moving in together. This is also why Dr. Pepper is nowhere near this couple, because she doesn't live with her spouse. So they can't put her in there as the expert because it would look bad. But, so she's coming in, she's trying to say, go against Dr. Pia and say, oh, you know what? I think it makes sense for us to not tell your mom. Instead of thinking, so are you just lying to your mom daily, or have you just not talked to her in 6 weeks? I mean, why is no one asking that question? Like, every time you're on the phone with your mom, you're lying to her because you're not telling her, oh, by the way, my wife is over there. Like, obviously, the dude is dishonest. Why are you okay with that?
Inauthentic, and I felt
You
accused
are
of being
inauthentic.
fake, and
you are fake.
my feelings were hurt, and so not only
Oh
did
my
I question
gosh,
the
I'm
process,
feeling my feelings.
I questioned whether or not this inauthentic marriage was actually authentic.
It's not. It's not, because y'all are not, if he's not telling his mom, if he's not okay moving in with you, if you're trying to push him away, because listen, you cannot possibly think that having 5 foster kids, all teenagers, is a good idea freshly in your marriage. You cannot think that having a whole animal sanctuary is good first thing in your marriage. So you're trying to push him away. He's trying to push you away. Why are y'all together? Y'all might as well have gone the way of Orion and Lauren and said bye.
We could realistically immediately move in together.
So what the hell are you
after
thinking?
decision
So
day, just
listen,
given our-
he has a point though, in a sense, because one thing that what he did bring up was that they have all these animals. They've decided not to buy a house, so they have to rent, and they have to find a place where they can rent and have like 5 animals. Okay, if you've ever rented a place, you understand a lot of times you're lucky if they let you have 1 pet, let alone 5. So that is a difficult thing. But he's trying to justify not moving in together right away. He just is. He's trying to find every reason to not.
our situations and just giving general logistics.
I'll let you.
And that's the problem. You do have some issues there, but he is looking for every reason to not, and that is a big problem. Oh, is it now? Is it?
The past few days?
Nope, not doing it. Nope, not doing it. Please explain to me, explain to me what the hell the appeal is of a dude dressed up like a female. Explain this to me. No, hell no. This is what they're going to do. They're going to go to a drag show. Come on, man. Moving on.
To navigate.
What? What are you trying to navigate?
And
What?
now that I've really started to
What?
evaluate, I'm really questioning this marriage.
I freaking told you every time. No, it doesn't matter how positive they look. They all pull away. The experts haven't a clue. They haven't a clue. Oh my gosh. He's pulling away now, trying to act like they were all, oh, they're great together. And now all of a sudden it's like, I just don't know. We're getting closer and I just don't know. This is his second time. He came back. I had sympathy for the whole being left at the altar thing. But guess what? Now he's like, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. There's no way they make it. If they decide yes on decision day, they won't make it a month. That is my prediction. Could be wrong. I'm no damn psychic, but all I know is that the track record of the experts is not good because the experts are not really experts at all. It's ridiculous. But we will see will things play out, how they play out. But it's not going to go well. So Orion and Lauren are back because, of course, they just can't let them go. They just can't let them go. But for some reason, they just keep giving them screen time, when in reality, it's like, I think finally maybe they've come to the conclusion that they need to stop talking, but I'm not sure about that.
And then, you know, the next text message is the complete opposite, where it's like, I don't really want to do this anymore.
So he's saying she's back and forth and acting like he's like, I'm just so confused. It's almost like it happened somewhere before. I'm trying to think. Where did this happen before? Oh yeah, when you did it to Lauren, acting like you're offended, playing the victim because she made a joke or said your nose was red, talking about Redskins. Then you completely laid out the whole history of Redskin wrong because you're an idiot. And here we are. So, and yet she's back and forth, and now you're acting more like you want to be bothered with that. Why are we still covering this?
I don't think Orion's a bad person. I don't hate Orion. I actually think he's a very kind person.
Why are you even giving him props? Why are you even doing that? What is the point here? Like, he was a douchebag to you. It was so dumb, the outrage. And like I said, if she had gotten the jump on him, she probably would have had some outrage about something too. It would have been really stupid. This could have played out very entertaining for a while had they stayed together. But I guess the experts and the producers could not keep them together long enough to get that entertainment out. So naturally, I don't think he's a bad person. Well, I mean, maybe he's not a bad person, but he definitely has a lot of bad qualities in wanting to make himself be the victim and make sure everyone's out to get him. And it's ridiculous. And he chose that to really focus that on you at the time in a fresh marriage, which was absolutely ridiculous. And yet, he's not a bad person. I mean, if you want to... Forgiveness is huge, of course. It's how you move on. It's how you work through things. But at least acknowledge that he was a douchebag.
2 dates. Girl.
He's gone on 2 dates.
I know. I feel like I'm a little back in action a little bit.
Okay, back in action.
And
yeah.
The dates that I went on were really good. Like,
really
solid,
good.
Like very solid.
Okay. Yeah, you got me.
One date
Draw
in
me in.
particular, I felt very validated.
Oh, you screwed it up. You felt validated. What if this is? I'm sorry. I know y'all know this by now. What my pet peeves are. Being validated is a huge pet peeve because your feelings are not always valid. You don't just get to be, I felt validated. In what? What did you feel validated at? Like, it was a first date, a second date, whatever. What do you need to feel valid? You need him to say, hey, you know what? Your emotions matter. Anything you say, I will listen to, accept, and will not question. Like, what does validity mean to you? It is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, this thing that people say now, I felt validated. You are not entitled to be validated. Your feelings are not always valid. And by the way, feelings are feelings, emotions are emotions. Guess what they are? They are not logical. So you don't get everything validated. So her going into that like that, it's not going to end well. And I hope she found a beta male that's just going to, yes, yeah, okay, yes, whatever you say. What do you want? Okay, please don't hit me again. Because at the end of the day, you are going to have someone that compromises with you, but you have to compromise as well. And someone that validates you all the time is not optimistically someone, or is not someone that's probably going to be really that person with that compromise. They're going to be someone that's a yes man to you. And guess what? Long run, not going to last. You're going to get tired of it. You want someone that stands up, that does things, that is willing to hear you, that is willing to compromise, that you work as a couple with. That's the only way to make it work. What you want, you don't know what you want. You just don't know what you want. So it's not going to end well, whatever the hell she's doing. She cut off Orion finally, I guess. But the whole thing is not going to end well. None of these have ended well. We still have Michael and Chloe. It's not going to end well. But I'm here for it. I am here for the absolute train wreck that continues to roll through. Next week, I'm not sure if next week is the last episode, but it's the decision day for Michael and Chloe. We will see what happens. They'll probably have a reunion, and that'll be entertaining. So look for the next couple episodes to really roll it out. And then we're going to see what we're going to do next on Thursdays for the time being until Married at First Sight comes back probably in a few months. But we're going to keep it rolling. I definitely appreciate the support. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications on new videos. We are almost to that 500, that halfway point of the 1,000. Once we get to 1,000 subscribers, we're going to be looking at that live show. I definitely appreciate it. I'm looking forward to that. Thank you so much. And I will see y'all next time.